All right, so let's continue on with Ima here. Okay, for what range of times is the velocity of the bowling ball positive? Okay, to do this, we can create that same chart that we talked about the previous day. We're looking at times and velocity. We know the only time from the previous video that the velocity is 0 is at 2.5 seconds. So that means that's the only time that it could change from positive to negative or negative to positive. And so if we pick those two kind of tester values, one in between the interval from 0 to 2.5, so maybe like 1 second, and one after 2.5, maybe like 3 seconds. I think these are things we can kind of calculate pretty easily ourselves because, and kind of in our heads, because this is the velocity function, right? So if t is 1, 5 minus 2 times 1 would be 3, which is positive. If t is 3, right, 5 minus 2 times 3, that'd be 5 minus 6, that would be a negative 1, so it would be negative, right? And so the only time that the velocity of the bowling ball is positive would be between 0 and 2.5 seconds, right? And during this time, that's when the ball is going up the ramp. We know it's going up because the velocity is positive. Okay. For question D here, how far was the bowling ball? Oh, how far? Okay, so this is a question that I would answer with how far, blah, 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 feet, right? So I'm going to make a little answer spot for myself and just pre-label it feet. How far was the bowling ball up the ramp? And I think this phrase ran out of gas is from your homework, and I don't super love it, right? So it's basically how far up the ramp when it stopped rolling up and started rolling back. Okay, so how far, or if I'm going to have feet, that means I must be dealing with the position equation. Okay, and I know it stopped rolling up and started to roll back at t equals 2.5 seconds from before. And so basically this question is, what is the position equation when the time is 2.5 seconds? So if you go back and you plug 2.5 seconds into the position equation, you're going to get 56.25. And so my final answer would be 56.25 feet. Okay. What is the velocity of the bowling ball at 1 second? What is the acceleration? All right, so just as a reminder, here's my velocity equation, which means I can create the acceleration equation just by taking a derivative, right? The derivative of 5 is 0. The derivative of negative 2t is negative 2. So if I'm asking what is the velocity at 1 second, right, that's 5 minus 2, or 3 feet per second. What is the acceleration at the same time? So at 1 second, this would still be negative 2. Remember, the label would be feet per second squared. Okay, based on these two answers, what I can tell you about the bowling ball is it is slowing down. How do I know that? Okay, I know that because what do you notice about the signs of the acceleration and the velocity? Right, one is positive and one is negative. So because the velocity and acceleration have different signs. Okay, hopefully that was kind of a helpful recap of some of the things that we've talked about and maybe helped you with some of those homework questions that you have been having. You will get a chance to ask about those before you take the quiz. Okay, now we're going to be shifting gears a little bit, and so I need to make sure that you have both the blue and the yellow sheet from in class, or either that or you need to download the sheets off Canvas before we do the next one. Okay, so the next video will be walking you through what my expectations are for those sheets.